All right, this is Easter Sunday, which would be April 4th, 2021, and we're headed back to the Squirrel Run trail, doing something a little different today. We're hiking with the entire family, which is really cool. Squirrel Run trail, as you'll see on one of our other videos, is about a mile-long loop, and we're not quite there yet. So we're going to get to that Squirrel Run trail and show you what that looks like. We're catching up to our group here. So we'll start filming a little bit when we get to the Squirrel Run trail. All right, as you can see, we're catching up to our group, and it's made up of one dog, a bunch of adults, and 2 kids aged 7 and 5. And we're going to be hiking the Squirrel Run trail because it's a great trail for kids that age. It's not really hard to do. So before we get to the Squirrel Run trail, the youngster, the 7-year-old, wants to go back here and skip some rocks. This trail that we're on right now is opposite the Squirrel Run trail, and it would take us back, if we walked all the way, it would take us all the way back to the bathhouse at the parking lot, the State Hill boat launch parking lot. So we're just going to stop right here and let this young fella skip some stones. Well, it looks like the adults are getting into it too, so we'll stop here for a little bit.
Yep, I got him.
Let's see who can get the best skips going on. Ooh, that was a good skip. Okay, rock skipping time is over. Now we're going to head back over to the Squirrel Run trail. And if everything works out, we're going to show you a little bit of a secret trail that's not on any of the maps that you can take off to the side and find some interesting things. Let's see if we can make that happen today. All right, here's the entrance to the Squirrel Run trail. As you can see, there's like 9 points of interest on this map, and we're going to pass by all of them. It's about a 1-mile loop, and we got to it by parking at the State Hill boat launch and walking back. On the map you can see it, it's Blue Marsh Road. So now we're going to head up the Squirrel Run trail and catch up to our group. Got a pretty large group today. I'm going to have to count it up and let you know how many people we have, but it's a beautiful, beautiful day for a hike, and particularly it's only a 1-mile hike, so kind of easy enough for everybody to do. Okay, we're at point of interest number 2, and as you can see, over the years, timbers have been put in here to prevent runoff and keep the trail kind of in good shape. Can't believe how many logs had to be cut out of the way this year with the kind of winter that we had and all the high winds and everything. And here's one of the benches at point of interest number 3. You can see a really nice bench here, and if you look across, you can see there's a ravine, and once we get around the loop, we'll actually be up on the trail, up on the top of that hill, looking back down on this trail. And this is after that point of interest number 3 back there. I'm just filming this to show you it's a really, really nice walking trail. Not too many hills. There might be one hill that we have to climb when we get over on the other side, but that's about it. Really, really nice path, particularly if you're bringing young children for a walk back here. Here's one of the trees that had to be cut this year. And you can see kind of fell down across the trail, and rangers had to get out here and cut it out. Nice little stream running down at the bottom here on the right side of the trail, and trail continuing up here. We're almost, believe it or not, almost at the point where we'll make a U-turn, and the trail will loop us around onto the upper trail. Okay, our young 7-year-old hiker noticed this box on the side of the tree, which we kind of think is a squirrel feeder. You can see that there's a hinge on the front of it and a hasp where you can open it up. Pretty sure it's like a squirrel box. Not positive, but that's what it looks like. And while we're alone here, while we're back from the pack a little bit, those of you who are local to Berks County or who are NFL fans, particularly fans of the Super Bowl champion from 2 years ago, Kansas City Chiefs, you may be able to take notice of someone that's in our party that's recognizable, and that's all I'm going to say. Okay, here we are at point number 4, which is a footbridge across the really nice stream. We're catching up to our group, and you'll see that the trail was built with some stairs in it. Stairs are in good shape, so we're going to go up the steps, the stairs, to get up to the top here and take the trail back, or the switchback on the trail. So we're at the corner of the trail, and you can still see the stone wall remnants of a structure that was back here. You can see it there, and then it's even a little more visible over here. Not really sure what it was. We'll try to figure it out at some point and get back on the trail again. And if you look closely, you can see there's a stone wall here that was part of an old road. You can see the road right here, and the road continues up on the trail that we're on. In other words, this was an old kind of horse and buggy trail, not really wide enough for a car. Well, I guess you could get an old-fashioned car back here, but I'm imagining horses and wagons would come back here to that old structure that we just passed. And we just passed point of interest number 7. And if you look closely, there's a trail that goes up through the woods. It is not marked on any trail signs or any trail maps, but there's some really interesting things up there and some remnants of some old buildings, some farms. And that's all I'll say, because we are definitely going to do that trail on another day. It's just that today, with the entire family, as you can see on the video here, we are under a little bit of a time constraint. So that's why this particular trail made so much sense, because it's such a nice little 1-mile walk. And now we're up on top of the trail system. If I walk over the edge here a little bit, you can see, maybe you can see down through the woods, the trail that we just came up, going in the other direction. And now we're on top of the hill, headed back for the last part of the loop. And we're actually almost back at the end of the Squirrel Run trail. So we're at the very end of the Squirrel Run trail, and there's a pretty long downhill that we're going to be going down, which is kind of cool. It's not very steep. Really, this trail is a really easy walk. And interestingly, we can't show you on the film here. I don't think I could zoom in enough, but the airplane that we fly over these trails is up in the sky above us. One of my partners in the plane took it down to Lancaster, from Reading to Lancaster for lunch, and he's on his way back now. So he just flew overhead, probably at about 2,000 feet, getting ready to get into the landing pattern at Reading. And if you look up this tree, here's another one of the squirrel boxes. And unfortunately down here, we're going to see one that has fallen down off the tree, and it needs to be remounted. We'll take a look at it, and you can see what they look like down on the ground. As we get to the end of the Squirrel Run trail, you can look down over the hill and see the water from a cove that comes to the back of the State Hill boat launch. And actually the Blue Marsh Road, I don't know if you can see it on this video, but Blue Marsh Road is right down below us. In fact, there's a runner going by here in a second, running on the trails of Blue Marsh, which is a pretty popular thing to do this time of year. But anyway, when we get to the end of the Squirrel Run trail, we're looking down on Blue Marsh Road. All right, we're catching up with the rest of our crew who have made it all the way down to the bottom of the hill off of the Squirrel Run trail and back on Blue Marsh Road. And as I mentioned, you might recognize one of the people in our party, the tallest one in our party, wearing a black hat. Those of you who are NFL fans and live in Berkeley County might recognize him. All right, we finished the Squirrel Run trail and we are on what is known as Blue Marsh Road. That's what it was called back in the day, and you'll still see that on maps today. And it's going to take us down to the State Hill Boat Launch parking lot. And we are at the very end of the trail, coming out of the woods down into the State Hill Boat Launch parking lot. And you can see quite a few hikers out here today, a couple of bass boats, maybe some pleasure boats as well. But also in the parking lot down here, you can see they've not yet put the docks back in. Those are the floating docks that are sitting here in the parking lot. And those probably won't be put in until like maybe May 1st or something. Although what's interesting is that they have raised the lake level. They release the water and take it down by about 5 feet every winter. And just a few weeks ago, they raised it back up again. So now it's at its normal state. Another point of interest as we're here at the State Hill Boat Launch, as we look across the water, there's an area that people have started to call the dog beach, because dogs are not allowed at the boat launch beaches or at the swimming beaches. But all the way across the water is what's a place called, or a place that people are starting to call the dog beach. And if you look at some of our other videos, you'll see, especially one of our videos that we recorded when we left the Stilling Basin and went from mile 0 over to mile 2, we passed right by the dog beach. I'm kind of facing straight at it now. It's worthwhile because it's a half a mile from the Stilling Basin, and you can loop back, and it'd be like about a mile walk with your dog if you wanted to take them over there to an area that they're permitted in.